I need to talk about this right here. So yesterday's game was obviously funny. Yesterday's game was obviously crazy. But have you guys not seen the petition? The petition, lads. So if you guys didn't see, obviously, there is the Dallas Wings fan page. Take the All-Star game out of Indiana. I'm serious. This is about player safety. Dude, don't worry. Neither JC or Marina's making the All-Star team. Players will be safe.
Whether it was her physical play or her savage trash talk, the WNBA seems ready to erase Sophie Cunningham if she never existed. For what, having her teammates back and daring to show some fire on the court seems to be grounds for exile. The league's response feels more like a vendetta than a penalty. Fans are asking, since when is passion a punishable offense? As the story erupts into full-blown turmoil, Cunningham didn't just play hard, she called out the bullshit, and the WNBA obviously couldn't handle the heat. This story is only beginning.
We have had so far with Sophie Cunningham. She is standing on business. She's trending everywhere, and now she's retweeting all the drama. Sophie has simply made herself a star, which she was already famous, but at this point, she hella famous, super famous. She got parody accounts been made on her. Guys, this is lit.
Only in today's flipped on its head, circus-level version of the WNBA can a player step up to defend her teammate from non-stop cheap shots, elbows, and dirty hits, yet somehow she's the one people are calling to punish. It's like logic left the building. The same fans who stay silent during flagrant fouls are now out for blood because someone had the guts to push back when especially dramatic keyboard warrior then declared like they were auditioning for a Shakespeare reboot that she should be banned for life. Seriously, no place in the game for what Sophie Cunningham did that warrants further review and penalty from the league. Seriously, standing up for Caitlin Clark is now a crime. That's the reality we're living in, apparently having your teammates' back earned you a spot on the league's most wanted list according to the WNBA as ever-spinning outrage machine. But naturally, it didn't stop there. The fan base never wants to pass up a full-blown meltdown turned into digital vigilantes, flooding timelines with hot takes like it was a sport. One even proudly posted as if auditioning for Judge Judy banned her permanently. But fans have actually started a petition to get Sophie Cunningham kicked out of the league. Yes, seriously, you couldn't script this level of overreaction. If you tried, it's like cancel culture met a hard foul and hit send removed from the league. Really funny how that outrage never showed up when Caitlin Clark was getting body checked for simply being good. Nobody called for suspensions. Then the WNBA's double standard is beyond obvious now, and after seeing this latest fan post, it's clear we're not just dealing with bias, it's full-blown hypocrisy. At this point, remove Sophie Cunningham from WNBA 4. Misconduct, please. The only real crime here is fans acting like Sophie staged a coup. All she did was show loyalty, toughness, and expose how paper-thin the league's backbone really is. If the flimsy 119 signature petition is all it takes to cancel a player, now maybe the WNBA should ditch the basketballs and start handing out therapy dogs and safe spaces. This isn't about misconduct, it's about control, and Sophie dared to color outside their fragile little lines.
So lads, Sophie Cunningham, obviously a player for the Indiana Fever, who got into a little bit of trouble last night. And by trouble, I mean she took somebody down, and then when they tried to go at her, two of them went at her. She held one of them off with one hand while getting the other one in a Muay Thai hold, and looked like if this was an MMA fight, she would have started bringing the head down to the knee. Like, you better believe in a 2-on-1, I'm taking Sophie Cunningham over Lindsay Allen and JC Sheldon.
This isn't just about one play, one player, or one night. It's a troubling pattern and an ending dizzying cycle of undermining progress whenever the Fever picks up steam, and Caitlin is out there rewriting the story of rookie impact, smashing attendance records and constantly dodging elbows, slander, and dismissive glances from people who seem allergic to her greatness. Instead of receiving applause, someone files an emotional grievance with the internet's watchdogs. But Sophie noticed the subtle cold shoulder Caitlin has been getting from both sides, and the media and she responded not with grandstanding or theatrics, but with raw, unfiltered conviction that act alone sparked an online uproar that spread faster than a quick break. The petition calling for her suspension is so ludicrous that you would think she had cheated on someone's grandmother. She had defended a teammate in a league that is notoriously harsh and unforgiving, and now they want her to vanish from the court. The message is so loud and twisted that if you stand up for yourself, you will be silenced. If you remain silent, you will be safe. The petition reads like a fever dream conceived out of caffeine overload and a perusal of insane fan forums. The irony is that Sophie is not the antagonist here. Rather, she is the uncomfortable mirror reflecting how uneasy people feel when women refuse to not only compete, but also stand up for each other unapologetically.
The enforcer situation at the end of the Fever game last night, after the repugnant behavior of Marina Mabrey and J.C. Sheldon. And of course, Cunningham ended up getting the gate out of it. I've also got Stephanie White making comments about the refs. I give her credit for at least she went hard at the referees. And I wonder, will the WNBA fine this coach over that? I've got a feeling. They shouldn't. They better listen.
It's not just extravagant. It's fanatical theatrics to take her away permanently, as if Sophie had unintentionally discovered alien tape in Area 51, rather than merely supporting a teammate in a difficult game, pretending to be morally upright. And demanding a lifetime ban over a moment of loyalty and protection is excessive. It's more like trying out for the league's new position as head of overreaction theater. If kicking someone out for life becomes the norm, what are the next lifetime? Sentences for going too far? It's more of a chaotic comedy sketch gone wrong. If this sets a precedent, players everywhere should start apologizing for just doing their jobs. Sophie didn't start a fight, sabotage a play, or pull some ridiculous stunt. Instead, she responded with presence bold, fierce, and undeniable, and now that's apparently a cardinal sin. The irony is that her offense was committed in support of Caitlin Clark, the walking talking 3-point ratings booster who has become the league's biggest star. However, rather than shielding her from constant insults and animosity, the focus switches to a bizarre witch hunt against her team, which is not only backwards but completely absurd. The Indiana Fever are demonstrating that they are not merely supporting players in someone else's story by taking hits head on and doing what underdogs do.
Sophie Cunningham retweets the petition on top of her jersey being sold out. I told you, man. I told y'all. Sophie Cunningham is from the Show Me State, bruh. She's standing on business. She's standing on business, and she wish you would. She wish you would. She probably find all of this entertaining that they is going all out of the way for this whole situation with Marina Marbury and J.C. Sheldon, bro.
They weren't meant to be relevant this season, but now they are both relevant and in the spotlight. When they defend each other like a true team, they are portrayed as the villains, and their sardonic tweets and angry emojis conveniently ignore the pattern that has been going on. The scandal is that Sophie, her teammate, enforcer, and floor ally is being villainized for admitting the madness and pushing back not with violence or venom, but with presence, which is what deserves to be removed from the league's ecosystem. This isn't about justice. It's about discomfort, with someone daring to disrupt the status quo and say, you know, we're not doing this anymore. Caitlin is treated like an uninvited guest at her own party, and despite the fact that she is rewriting how the league is watched, marketed, and monetized, she is met with hostility instead of praise. This whole mess is an example of misguided indignation. After pleading for visibility, a league is now attempting to regain the momentum it requested because the delivery truck Caitlin chuckles that she is difficult to fit into traditional storylines, since she doesn't fit neatly into the stereotype of a quiet achiever or a humble star. My Dame dominates the stage and doesn't simply play. She looks down the defender's high fives from 40 feet out.
Sophie Cunningham's response to all this, in terms of her tweets, like, if you guys didn't see Sophie Cunningham's retweets, Sophie Cunningham obviously responded with the shrug Instagram post, but Sophie Cunningham also retweeted this. NBA fans have now made a petition to have Sophie Cunningham removed from the league. You can't make this up. I love how what's the petition on right now? What's the petition on? Because I know the petition only had like 100 signatures. But it is it's one of those things.
And the system reacts in a panic when Sophie channels that fierce energy. How dare they be unapologetic in their competition? If Sophie Cunningham is now the league's scapegoat, then we've officially entered a world where fierce loyalty is flagged. As misconduct, where protecting teammates is punished, and where loud, passionate play becomes a reason for exile. The league's request for fire was a wild overreaction, and when Sophie brought it, they called the fire department. What's even more absurd is how predictable this cycle is just a few games ago. Everyone needs a mop to clean up the excess energy after Caitlyn dazzles crowds and social media blows up. However, the real irony comes when Sophie stands up and shows loyalty by stepping in, and then a petition appears, not just any petition, but one that appears to have been created in a basement lab driven by insecurity and too much iced coffee. Currently, standing up for a colleague has penalties that would require an international tribunal. You would assume that Sophie sneaked into a league meeting and changed the rules, but she just wouldn't allow her buddy to be treated like a loose ball, and apparently it was enough to start an outrage squad.
It's crazy that entire sentence just rolled out of my mouth, because the NFL officials are so bad that a lot of people think the game is rigged or scripted. By the way, I've seen that about the WNBA as of late too. Like, are the officials trying to navigate games in certain directions? We got to remember, there's things like prop betting, and can we keep somebody? Hey, I put $2,000 over on Caitlin Clark not being able to score 25 points tonight. The payoff on that is 10 grand.
Pretending that the essence of basketball now lies in eliminating someone who gasps during transitions, they turn on their keyboards, boost their egos, and throw a virtual fit. Let's change course. Have you noticed the statistics? There is a collective eye roll and record spinning, despite the fact that Caitlyn averages about 22 a game and there are rumors of a winning streak. It seems as though someone binge-watched Mean Girls too many times and concluded that WNBA teams are simply mean girls, but they are actually athletes with sweat and real grit, unlike internet trolls who can't even spell irony. Let's be clear, this isn't about a single play or instance. Rather, it's a pattern, a routine, a rinse-and-repeat cycle where the same crowd that begs for attention can't handle it when it comes in the form of a blonde assassin from Iowa who suddenly changes the league's financial forecast in real time and drops triple threat moves. It's no longer about the game. Instead, it's about upholding a precarious hierarchy where success is viewed with suspicion and backup dancers better remain information. The Fever are simply done being polite about being bullied. They aren't out here playing dirty. In a league that professes to value empowerment but frequently punishes those who use it at full volume, Sophie's stance wasn't aggressive. Rather, it was long overdue. It's funny how leadership's silence becomes louder each time Fever players are cheap-shotted or thrown under the bus while vying for a playoff spot they've truly earned.
There's actually a petition out there that they want to kick out Sophie Cunningham out of the league. Where was this petition at for Kennedy Carter? Where was this petition at with Dejanay Carrington? Where was this petition at with Alyssa Thomas when she chokeslammed Angel Reese? No, it falls on deaf ears, right? Because she defends Caitlin Clark, it's a problem. This league is so freaking petty and lame. That's why I call it the WNBA. There's so much envy and they're all green with this. It's embarrassing. And the fact that this person created this petition is embarrassing.
However, the scoreboard presents a very different image. Caitlyn is accumulating remarkable numbers. Although Indiana is gaining ground and Sophie is attracting defenders like ants to a flame, the situation on Twitter is different. The comment sections lack the subtlety and logic of a courtroom drama. To cut through the misconception, you would need a chainsaw since it is so thick. Welcome to 2025. When showing your backbone puts your job in jeopardy, all of this drama over someone daring to treat a teammate like family is the true crime. Regarding the trolls and petitions calling for justice, they merely express theatrical anger and put Sophie's name on a document, but it's obvious that they're just using it to further their own prejudices. Nothing about justice or accountability, just outrage for the sake of outrage with no real content. When used properly, petitions can be effective tools, but if you want to target someone for speaking up against obvious disrespect, that would be like writing to Congress to demand your friend's expulsion after she received a C in algebra. Sophie's offense was merely defending Caitlyn, and let's be clear that logic has long since left the building. She simply stood her position and said, "Not on my watch, no slurs, no mayhem." If it is sufficient to justify expulsion, then perhaps the league's entire purpose is distorted. Unless your team is petty and your strategy is to find someone to cancel each week, we don't penalize players for defending colleagues.
Definitely the W, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore. Okay? She's already proved herself. She's won. And then there were some, ladies last night that were trying to go a little physical. And in last year, I think something we noticed, and I think a lot of people noticed, is when Caitlin would get bullied, nobody would do nothing.
That's right.
Nobody would do nothing. It was like, hey, they didn't know, like, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe people are doing this to Caitlin Clark. Teammates weren't jumping in there. They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom!
Wow.
JC Sheldon, that's cute. You want to poke her in the eye, then push her into a boom, Mabry thing? Go ahead. I'll take a take foul, and you'll eat the deck a little bit here. And then we'll get at I love it.